What's up and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today I'm going to be talking about a brand new film set to hit the Shudder streaming platform on Tuesday, June 29th. It's Vicious Fun. Vicious Fun follows Joel, a caustic 1980s film critic for a national horror magazine who finds himself unwittingly trapped in a self-help group for serial killers. With no other choice, Joel attempts to blend in with his homicidal surroundings or risk becoming the next victim. So almost exactly 2 years ago, I reviewed a film on my channel called Killers Anonymous, which was also a movie about self-help group of serial killers. And they meet in a room, and that film had some bigger names attached like Gary Oldman and Jessica Alba, and for obvious reasons my mind immediately jumped to that film when watching this. But truthfully, that movie was also utterly forgettable and dare I say boring. Vicious Fun, on the other hand, is exactly as its name suggests, and it's viciously fun. Honestly, Shudder is a streaming platform that has some wins, but their issues usually fall under having a great premise but flawed execution. Not here. And this is honestly one of the best Shudder original films that I've personally ever seen. Perhaps the best thing about the film is how self-aware and tongue-in-cheek it really is. I'm sometimes a tough egg to crack when it comes down to horror comedies, but for me this worked, as it was really going for it. And the comedy worked wonders for me. Also, the killers Joel finds himself trapped alongside of in this self-help group are so clearly based off of horror film icons that I couldn't help myself but smile. The people were designed after slashers like Jason Vorhees, cannibals like Hannibal, and chameleon-like killers such as Christian Bale's character in American Psycho. If you are familiar with those horror films, you'll be unable to miss those nods. And if you aren't familiar with classic horror films like that, then the movie still works on its own too because of its clear-as-day attitude as a horror comedy. I can't say it enough. I had a blast watching this movie, which isn't ever trying to be this big award-winning film, but instead, it just wants to be a blatantly ridiculous but fun horror comedy romp. Even so, I was impressed with the practical effects used in the movie when it came down to the gore that it sometimes had, which was actually pretty well carried out. Oh yeah, and the music. This film takes place in the 80s, so it goes kind of crazy with its 80s techno music, but you know what? I dug it. Now, to be completely honest with you, I'm having a little bit of a problem even finding any negatives in the movie whatsoever. I mean, any of its flaws based off of my grading scale comes down to things that it was never trying to do in the first place, like have any depth to the story. It also isn't super original, since I did mention that one film that came out a couple years ago called Killers Anonymous, but at the same time, it's also not trying to be original either, as these characters really are shoutouts to horror classics, and even so, like I said, even if they wanted to rip off of Killers Anonymous, this is the superior film, so it's not like it even matters at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and break down my final score from an unbiased technical level. Vicious Fun stands out in its fun 80s music, wonderful use of practical effects for the gore, and smart use of character utilization. Even though it was never really trying that hard to be technically good, it still was, leaving me with a score of 80% for the unbiased. And my bias score, or how I felt about the film as a general rule, was even better because, as the title suggests, this was viciously fun, above all else. I had an absolute blast and a half watching the movie, which was never something that I ever actually expected. So I consider this one of 2021's best hidden gems, to be honest. So this score is 92%. When we average out the two scores together, we come to the final rating of 86%. 86 out of 100 possible stars, or an A- letter grade on my updated grading system. Have you seen Vicious Fun? If you have, let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.
Dave examines movies we just watch for fun. Davey is the expert. He is the #1 critic that I go to when I need a movie pick. Thanks for joining up with us. We think